Right guys, welcome down to part 2 of this on-course playing lesson vlog thing, which I'm doing down here at Stockport. And if you've not checked out part 1, please do that now. I'm currently 1 under for the first 3 holes, and all I'm doing in these videos is talking through my course management, a little bit more of what I'm thinking about on the course, which I don't get to do in normal course vlogs. Now this 4th hole here is a tricky one. It's 405 yards. And just at about 240, there's a bunker on the right-hand side. So this is a lay short of it or try and hit a driver over it. The further you drive it down there, the narrower it gets. But if you leave it short and left, you can also be blocked out by some trees. So this is a bit of a stick or a twist hole. Now I've experimented a couple of times on this hole. I've played this course before here at Stockport, which is looking lovely this evening, by the way, after the rain's cleared away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to aim just left of the bunker, try and hit my usual tiny fade, should have enough to carry and should be bounding down the fairway as it's on a little bit of a downslope, just depending on how wet it is after the rain that we've had. So I'm going to hit my driver. I've been driving pretty well at the moment in time. Guaranteed commentator's curse there. But I'm going to aim just to the left of that bunker. Even if I fade it a little bit, it should have the power to get over. Just need to get a nice solid contact on here. Yeah, aim feels pretty good. Oh, I've ripped it, but I've pulled it. Get lucky. Well, that is in the mercy of the tree gods, unfortunately. Struck it well. Struck it not far probably from my intended starting line, but just pulled it a little bit. So that's going to be in the trees to the left, and it needs to be very lucky if I want a chance to get onto this green. First bit of problems that I've faced on this hole 9 so far. Okay, problems. So I've just managed to get through a little bit of a dense patch of trees, which really would have left me with very few options. And now I'm just into the rough, but I've got a big tree in my way. Now to get to the green, I've still got, what have I got? So 142, so there's about 150 yards left into the pin. Now I've got a couple of options. I can either just chip out, or I can try a big raking hook. Now a big raking hook, I actually feel quite confident in playing with a high lofted iron. And if it does stay out to the right hand side, the pin's bang in the middle. So if it does stay out to the right hand side, I can still have a decent chance of up and down. If the pin was on the right hand side, I might be thinking a little bit more about just chipping out to the side. But because I've got a high lofted iron, because the pin's in the middle, I'm going to have a little bit of a go for it. I was going to move behind the camera. That's one issue when you are filming on your own. So 150 yards, I'm going to get my pitching wedge out. Now, normally with a pitcher wedge at this moment in time, I can probably get it there. It's about 140 usually, but because I'm closing the club face so much, I'm also going to be reducing the loft on the club at impact. Now that should turn this pitching wedge into something like an 8-iron. And I'm going to start it just to the right of that tree and really try and hook it around as much as possible. Anywhere up near the green will do. The light is pretty good, so I should be able to get some movement. If it was sat down a little bit more, I might have more of an issue. The ball is slightly above my feet as well, so all these things are going to be helping me in the shot I want to play. So I've got like a little window just at the tree there that I'm aiming for, and I'm going to visualize that big hook around to the green. So I really do need to get a lot of movement. So I'm going to set myself up right of my intended target line, just so I can really feel I get a lot more curve. And then I'm going to close my club face so it's pretty much pointing at the target. So I was going to get a lot of movement here from right to left, hopefully. I'm going to move the ball back very slightly in my stance so I can come a little bit more on the inside. So again, try and increase the curvature. And if I do miss, then it shouldn't be too bad. Slightly stronger grip as well. Just one last little bit of visualization and just go for it. Oh, it started off a little bit further left, but it's hooking. Just in the right hand bunker, but actually not too bad of a result. Just need to start it a little bit further right and try and get more hook. But it's got a little bit lucky, it's got through the trees, And even if it had caught the trees a little bit heavy, it would have only left me a pitch in. So if you are deciding whether to hit a shot, a risk or reward shot, just weigh up the options. And really, the risks of that shot, they weren't very high. I certainly wasn't going to pull it left enough to hit the big chunk of the tree anyway. Well, I might have, but I didn't. Anyway, bunker shot. Right, so I found the greenside bunker, slightly more difficult because the sand is wet. Now, a lot of people do ask, how do you play these shots when the sand is wet? And there are a couple of key adaptations that you can make. I've still got some green to work with. I just want to be pitching it pretty much on the green and then letting it release down to the flag. But because the sand is wet, as long as I play this how I want to, it still should have some spin. Now, the thing to realise here is as the club enters the sand, because it's wet, because it's more compact, it should bounce up a little bit quicker. So if the sand was soft, I could maybe throw the club in a little bit deeper and still have the confidence that it's going to come out and play a standard splash shot. Because the sand is wet, I'm not so confident that's going to happen. And certainly when I shuffle my feet in, I can feel just how compacted this sand is. So what I'm going to try and do is not take quite so much sand, be a little bit more shallow and just skim the club underneath the ball. Now, because of that, I'm not going to put as much power into it because I'm not taking as much sand, and I'm just going to play it with very, very soft hands. As far as my setup goes, I'm just going to aim to the left-hand side. Nothing really changes much here. The ball position is just going to be forward of centre, and I'm really just going to lay this 60-degree nice and open, just really soft hands, skim the club underneath the ball. So pitching it just at the front. It should go a little bit to the left-hand side once it pitches. Nice soft hands here. Okay. Skim, stop, stop, stop. Okay, I played that pretty well. It started off slightly further left than I wanted, but I played that quite nicely. And you can see here, the actual divot size is pretty small. But you can see if I try to play a normal splash shot, it's just going to skim up and bounce out of it a little bit quicker rather than flow into the sand like it would do if the sand was dry. However, I've got a good chance to save my par, and overall pretty happy with that bunker shot. Very happy with that bunker shot. I mean, it set off slightly further left than I wanted. It would have stood a really good chance of going in, I think, if I'd have landed it exactly where I wanted to, because my pace was pretty good. But it's just come slightly past. I'm putting back up the hill, and it should move slightly off to the right-hand side here. Now, with this length of putt, I might try and be a tiny bit firmer with this because it is a little bit more wet, and probably play it just outside the left. I think it might move a little bit more if I played it softer. So I'm just going to go outside the left. I've already done a little bit of aim point on this as well, and I've got the choice of going just outside or a little bit further and dialing it in, but I'm just going to go outside. I'm going to try and be positive with this. Be good up and down this one. Yeah. Oh no! Oh. Ah. Wow. I really thought I had that. That was coming in here and then took a real sharp detour. Oh well, it's a bogey. I'm not unhappy with that putt, to be honest. It kind of went exactly where I wanted it to. Just either needed to be firmer or slightly on the outside, but the way I read that, I was pretty happy with how I putted it. So obviously unhappy for the bogey, but can still take spirit from how I handled the hole. Oh well, back to level. Fifth hole here, par 3 down the hill, and a tricky club selection here. It's 165 to the pin, but the pin is right at the back. So if I get a little bit greedy with this and I really try and attack, then it could go after the pin, could go beyond the green and leave myself a very tough up and down. So I'm going to play on the conservative side to try and hit it in the middle of the green, and then if it goes a little bit further, then that's a bonus. But I don't want to be hitting a club that's going to be going too long. I don't need another tee peg. And also with this, I can't be tempted to be too attacking just because I bogeyed the last hole. I played it, apart from the tee shot, pretty much how I wanted to, hit the putt how I wanted to, so I'm still in a very good frame of mind. I think you've got to try and stay positive and not let a last hole affect your next hole. So 165, normally I'm hitting my 8-iron. If I hit it well, 160 yards. So I'm going to play my 8-iron, and if it just gets that little bit more distance because it's downhill, that's not going to be the end of the world. But I think with this, if I just get a nice solid contact, it should be middle of the green or just slightly on the pin. So we will see. Again, not much wind here, so I can go straight at it. It's quite central as far as location wise goes, so if I do fade it slightly, it's just going to be on the right side of the green. So nice smooth swing here, don't need to do anything too exotic. Slightly toey actually. Go on, travel. Yeah, just at the front of the green. It's going to leave me a long putt, that. Just got a little bit toey on it. Now that was disappointed. Line wise it was straight down the pin, but oh well. Long putt. Let's talk about long putts now. Hello down there. I've left myself quite a long putt after that toey strike. I've already read it, and it's going to move slightly off to the right hand side, I think, as the putt dies. Quite straight for the first part of this putt. Now, because I don't do any practice strokes in my routine, I just try and get a sense of how fast this is going to be when I walk around. So I'm not going to take miles over, I'm not going to go behind the hole, walk both ends of it, but I just try and get a sense, walking up the green a little bit, see if there's any imperfections that I can see. But apart from that, I'm pretty sure I know the line here. So I'm going to set it off quite straight. It should die slightly off to the right as it reaches the hole. But I'm just going to trust my instincts. So I'm going to look up at the hole, get myself set up, make sure my putter's all lined up, back to the hole and pull the trigger. And with my putting, it's really all about trust. Now, I struck that quite well, just not firm enough. So you saw how it approached the hole, it started to die. Now, one thing I would say many people don't do, and I think a lot of people are guilty with this, is if they hit a putt like that, they automatically assume that the next putt is going to do the same thing, so it's going to move off to the right. All I'd say is just take a moment just to reread the putt, just to confirm. I do see that a lot, so people just automatically assume that the next putt is going to move the same way. It's always worth just giving yourself that second just to check. Now in this case it should do the same, so it should move to the right hand side. So I'm going to start this just on the left hand edge and then allow it to move back. So pretty happy with the alignment there. Pretty comfortable with my stroke as well at the moment. Yeah. Happy with that 2 putt after that tee shot. So par, still level, par 5 next though. Good birdie chance. Okay, 6th hole and a birdie chance. So it's a par 5 just under 500 yards. And the only trouble off the tee is there's 2 bunkers to the left hand side that I need to try and avoid. Now normally off this tee what I do is I aim at the right edge of the right hand bunker and then just let it cut back a little bit. And it's downwind actually normally when the wind is blowing around here, but it's very, very still this evening. So I can't rely on that to get my distance. So I am going to give it a bit of a good belt. I certainly want no more than a 4 iron coming into this green. That would be absolutely ideal, but you don't always get what you want. But I'm going to give it a good whack and try. So just at the right side of that bunker, well not at the bunker, just to the right side of it, and then give it a good whack. Again, I've got a lovely line down the middle of this tee, which is helping to align my body. Oh yeah, fancy this one. Oh, I struck it well, but it's gone right. Stay there. Oh, it's got lucky. It's hit a tree. It's dropped down, and I think I'm just to the right of a tree, which could be in my way for my second shot. Maybe try to give that a little bit too much, but the danger there was going in the bunkers on the left off the tee shot, so I still should have a chance to get there, and it actually opens up the green a little bit more from the right hand side. Yeah, there's always positives. There's always positives to take. Not quite what I wanted here. I thought I'd actually finished a little bit further up, but I've still got an okay chance to go for a green, and I've got a bit of a situation where I can either lay up just short of the cross bunkers or actually try and hit my 3-wood towards the green. It's 225 yards which I've got left, and I feel pretty comfortable, pretty confident. The ball's actually lying okay. So I'm going to hit my 3-wood, just try and keep it a little bit lower, and hopefully give myself a chance for an eagle, but more realistically get it up and around the green and a chip and a putt for a birdie. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to move the ball slightly further back in my stance. I'm still going to play this like a punt shot. I'm not going to try and adapt things too much. Even if it rises slightly and catches these branches, they are quite thin and spindly, so I should be able to still get some decent distance. So that ball position just slightly further back in the stance. Just my normal punch swing. Oh, I struck it well. It's just got a wee bit left on me. Sit down. It's over by the tees on the next hole. I wasn't expecting to pull that, to be honest. I thought if anything it would have leaked off to the right. So it leaves me a slightly more difficult pitch in. So I've got to come over a couple of bunkers, but the pin is towards the middle of the green. So with a good pitch, still a chance for a bird. Right, so I've just finished off to the left. I've got the bunker to come over here, but there is still quite a lot of room afterwards to work with. The lie here, I should have really brought the camera over, but I wanted a more dramatic picture. The lie is almost too good. It's almost like on a little bit of a mini tee peg, but it's going to allow me to slide the club underneath nicely and flick it up, and I should be able to get this to stop quite quick. Even though it is in the semi, it's lying that well. I should be able to get a fair bit of loft on this. So I'm going to open it up very slightly. I'm going to pitch it just before the pin, I hope, get it to stop. Kick off. Oh, you lucky boy. Oh, that was a bit disappointing. That tried to be a bit cute. Should have just accelerated through and gave that a little bit more beans. It's actually got lucky because it kicked off the fringe. If that had pitched on the green, which I don't think it did, that would have stopped a lot quicker. So still gives me a chance for a birdie. A little bit disappointed by that though, if I'm honest with you. Right, what have we got here? So initially I feel like it is going to go off to the right hand side here. Yeah, it's going to swing quite a lot as well, I think. So I'm going to have to be aiming just out, well, not just outside, quite a lot outside the right edge here, left edge, so it's late in the evening, to bring it back in. Not the easiest birdie putt in the world that I would have wanted to leave myself with, but still a chance. Okay, to get to 1 under. Hopefully this mic is still plugged in. Yes, it is. Okay, so I've got that initial starting point. Trust the brake's going to come around. Feel the green's almost drying out a little bit now. Brake, 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 brake. It's finished directly behind the hole. That either needs to be dead weight or less brake. But either way, it's a par. Slightly disappointing par on such a short par 5, but it is what it is. Right guys, thank you so much for watching. Next par is coming up. I've got a par 4, par 3, par 5, so another mixture of holes. Some really lovely holes as well, and the sky, by the way, is now looking absolutely stunning. So guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, follow me on my other social media platforms as well. I'll see you down here next time. Lovely evening. I love still evenings like this. Beautiful. Happy to be alive.